is early morning. You all wake up and you head downstairs. Who is the earliest riser? I think probably Yariel, right?
Yeah, he definitely wakes up way, way earlier.
Yeah, Yariel and Cass are probably the earliest risers. You both arrive in the dining room, like the breakfast nook area of the Pavas estate, around the same time, Yariel and Cass. And you greet each other. You two are the early risers, so you always see each other in the morning. And you're about to exchange your usual greetings when you hear from the dining room right across the way, Zevran say, "Ha-ha, drink, my friend!"
I look at Cassandra and I'm like, is it a lot earlier than I thought it was?
It's pretty early. It's like 6 a.m. Like, it's early. You guys wake up early.
But is it like 2 a.m. and Zevran hasn't gone to bed yet?
I don't. I think it's too early for whatever it is he's doing.
So you go through to the dining room and you see quite a spectacle. You see Dorian and Ren and Talgan and Zevran, and they're all sitting around the table. Talgan appears to be either unconscious or asleep. He's like bent over the table. He has what must be 8 mugs of some sort of alcohol scattered in front of him, and he is not conscious. Ren and Dorian look like they're about to die. And Zevran looks completely sober and like he's having a great time.
What are you doing?
You know what time it is?
Dorian says, "I think this elf can read minds. I don't know how, but I think he can read minds." And Zevran is quick to say, "I just am very good at this game, Master Pavas." And then he returns his attention to Ren, and he says, "Never have I ever caught my own foot in a snare." And Ren's like, "Oh my god," and he takes a drink.
Kaz is like, are you serious? This is the game that we're playing?
We're not playing this game, because no. You are definitely not playing this game.
Zevran turns his attention to you, Sabre. And he walks over and he hands you a cup. And he says, before he lets go of the cup, he says, "Never have I ever pretended not to speak common to get a human to stop talking to me."
Okay, well that just can't be true. We've all done it.
So take a drink!
I'm not. It's 6 a.m. I was gonna go for a run. I mean, everybody here is so trashed.
Have you been doing this all night? Have you gone to bed?
Ren says, "I think he might actually be able to read minds." Oh, my head hurts.
Okay, no, I have to step in here as Ren's younger brother. He needs to go to bed, Zevran. It's 6 a.m.
Right now, all I can see is someone not following the rules of Never Have I Ever.
I never agreed to play your stupid game.
He turns to you, Cassandra, and he stares at you contemplatively, and he's like passing a cup into your hands, and he says, "Never have I ever, never have I ever had a dream involving nugs."
Cass just stares in horror at Zevran. And then looks at Yariel. Oh my god, he can read minds.
I grab the cup from her too, and I go and I just like pour them out on the floor, and I'm like, "No, Zevran."
How did he know that?
Okay, don't encourage him. 1, 2.
How?
Everyone in this room needs to go to bed. Get up, go to bed. I just like start like pushing like Ren towards the door.
So, Elian, you are also coming down the stairs. You woke up a little earlier than normal because you had a dream.
Mm-hmm.
You had a dream, so you're a little bit earlier. And just as you're coming down the stairs, Lannon is coming up from the basement right across the hall. And he says, "Hey, there you are." And he grabs you by the shoulder. He's like, "Listen, I finished the..." And he wiggles his fingers as if to indicate magic stuff. "On your blood, I finished up the experiments."
Oh.
I don't really know if this is good news or bad news, so I did find some latent magic in your blood, he says, as the pair of you walk toward the dining room. He says, "It's not very strong. It's definitely not strong enough to cure something like the blight. However, it might work as a sort of like a last-ditch curative, like it might keep someone away from the brink of death, if that makes sense."
Out of character. I hate that foreshadowing.
He says, like maybe like a open wound, a couple drops into their mouth that might, save them from completely dying. But past that, there's not a whole lot of good use for it. Sorry. I know you were kind of hoping to...
That's okay. It's still weird enough that finding out it's not... I mean, that kind of lines up with what my mother said. I mean, it's not exactly like it was recent.
Yeah, from everything that Leliana has told me, it sounds like it's been getting weaker through the generations, and, it has been 1,000 years since Andraste, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
The two of you head into the dining room together, and you see the chaos that just unfolds as soon as you walk inside. It's, Talgan unconscious on the table, Ren being pulled between Zevran and Yariel as he is extremely drunk, and Yariel's like, no, he has to go to bed, and Zevran being like, he still owes me 2 drinks!
Elian walks out and goes to make some tea.
Zevran catches the move and he says, hey! And he dashes over and he grabs you by the shoulder and he whirls you around.
What?
He shoves the cup into your hand. Never have I ever been tied up during sex.
What? Why are you playing Never Have I Ever at 6 a.m.?
It says, never have I ever been tied up during sex. Take a drink if you've done it.
Jesus. And takes a swig and then shoves the cup back.
I fucking called it.
He can't read minds.
Cannot read minds.
Are you sure?
Lennon says, has this been going on all night? And then Zevran rounds on Lannon.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
He takes a long, hard look at Lannon, and Lennon's like, oh, no.
Actually, I just step back and just, smile. I'm gonna let this one happen.
He stares at him for a long time, shoves the cup into his hands, and he says, never have I ever been to a brothel. And Lennon's like, what? How could you possibly...
Right.
Dorian, who is extremely drunk, is like, oh, Lannon, for shame. And it's like, no, listen, it was 5 years ago during the last Arlath'len, me and a bunch of other firsts got drunk, and they dared me to go into the brothel in Starkhaven and recruit one of the elven workers for the Dalish as a joke. And then and suddenly Zevran interjects, never have I ever been mistaken for a sex worker. And it's like, oh my god!
Yeah, I can see that. I'm just dying on the floor in the corner.
Anyway, is anyone gonna actually get breakfast anytime soon?
I'm getting breakfast. Everyone else in this room who's been up all night is going to bed.
Zevran says, I just have to maintain my position as king of Never Have I Ever. You understand? I have to up the ante every few months just to make sure no one mistakes who is the reigning champion.
You do this every few months. Honestly, Zevran, it's surprised that everyone's not dead.
Ren's like, my husband can read minds. I need to go to bed. I have to go to bed.
Yeah, you definitely drink some water, bud.
He's like, I got this. I got this. I'm fine. And he starts stumbling out. And Zevran he is very self-satisfied. He's like, I'm also pretty tired.
Would you please make sure he gets up the stairs okay?
Oh, fine. Gosh.
I turn back to Lannon and I'm like, have you been up all night too?
He says, no, I just got up and had my mind read, apparently. But then he sees Dorian starting to stand up and he says, Dorian! And he sidles right up to Dorian and he says, hey Dorian, I heard that you're going to be the next Black Divine. And Dorian's like, oh, Maker, please. And it's like, wow, I cannot imagine what that must be like, having a bunch of political power thrust onto your unwilling shoulders. I can't imagine how that must feel for you. Dorian's like, Lannon, I swear to God. It's like, does it suck? Does it suck having all that responsibility just suddenly laid out before you? Dorian's like, I will set you on fire. I don't care that you're the ex-Inquisitor. Lannon starts landing a series of little hits against his ribs. Like, oh, does it just suck so bad? Does it suck really a lot? Oh, that sounds awful, but I would have no way of knowing for sure. This is completely outside of my experience.
This is great, and I love it. Someone needs to take Dorian to task every once in a while.
Dorian's like, I'm going to bed before I blow up this entire estate.
Good plan.
Lannon's like, let me know if you need any advice about what to do in this situation. Not that I have any, because, again, I have no idea what you're going through. And Dorian's already gone. He's stomping up the stairs.
Who's Talgan? Someone should probably put Talgan in bed. Yeah. Is Talgan alive? Someone should feel... I'm going to feel for Talgan's pulse.
Talgan he has a pulse. He's alive.
Good.
I'm gonna take Talgan to bed.
Yep, it's totally fine. He's heavy, but you're strong, so it's fine. And by the time you come back into the living room, Mayveris is downstairs and she is starting to cook breakfast.
Is Lannon's around?
Yep. He's helping in the kitchen, but it's like open plan, so it's like you can see him and talk to him easily enough through the...
I'm gonna go over to Lannon and be like, we need to have a conversation in private at some point about... I had a dream last night.
He looks a bit mildly alarmed. He says, not about a wolf, right? There's no six-eyed wolf?
No, not this time.
Oh, okay, well that takes a load off my mind. He says, yeah, what about?
Justice has a plan for that thing we talked about.
Why are you whispering?
Because it's sensitive.
I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I talked to Justice last night, and he wants to sacrifice himself so that we can kill the archdemon.
Lannon, like a complicated expression kind of passes over his face, and he says, well, I mean, I guess in theory that could work, but I could never ask.
I tried to talk him out of it, but he wouldn't. He was so stubborn. He says, and we can't tell Alien, he says that Compassion is going to want to do it too. And he doesn't want that to happen.
Ugh. This is messy.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I can't say I'm in a great hurry to die, but I'm also not in a great hurry to... this is
I don't want any of you to die. And I don't know how to stop any of you from volunteering.
He says, all right, I'll, the spell might have to be adjusted a little bit to use a soul instead of a... I'll make it work.
Okay. I, squeeze his arm, and I'm just like, this isn't what anybody wanted. None of this is.
The blight most of all.
Just don't tell Alien for me, please.
He says, okay. Okay, so within a couple minutes, all of you, or those of you who are conscious and not drunk, gather around the table. Lannon sits at the head where Dorian normally sits, because Dorian's upstairs and asleep and angry at him, so that's fine. And he says, hey, he says, with a very awkward tone that implies that he has some pretty heavy news.
Is this how all your speeches as the Inquisitor went?
I didn't give any speeches as the Inquisitor.
Oh.
They actually didn't let me.
Oh, they told you not to.
This is probably why.
Yeah, this is why.
That's fair. I'm sorry. We'll stop heckling you.
Continue.
What is it, Lannon?
Do you remember way back when we were in Skyhold with that summit between Ferelden and Orlais, and we tried to get in with Briala, and then it turned out one of Briala's inner circle was working with Solas?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the interim, one of the many things that I've been working on with Liliana's help and with some of my own magic is I turned that double agent into a triple agent.
Oh, God.
What?
What? How? When did you have time for this?
He says, what do you think I've been doing while you guys have been out saving the world from the blight? Just relying recumbent on my Shay Long eating bonbons? No, I've been working.
That's kind of what I thought, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
What? Really? Uriel?
He deserves a break.
He says the point is, we have someone on the inside of Arlath'len. We're not sure 100% to what degree we can trust him, but I do have a spell on him that is monitoring, most of his activity and that kind of thing. And I've got... So, he sighs. He hasn't even touched his food yet, which is amazing because it smells incredible. So he says, I've had eyes on the inside of Arlath'len for a while, and I have a general idea of what Solas is doing and how he's doing it, but there are a couple really important details that I haven't been able to get to the bottom of. He says, I think he has somehow trapped another archdemon in Arlath'len.
Oh, God. Why?
Fuck. Wow. I'm not 100% sure why. He says, and so I know that I've always known that his plan was to rip down the veil, but doing that would require an immense amount of power, and it hasn't been really clear to me how he intends to power that spell. So I think our best way to get some intel before we make a real strike at Arlath'len, because that is what we're going to be doing soon. Like, really soon. We have an army now, we need to get this rolling. But I think the best way to get some vital intel before we head in is to do... He takes a kind of a deep kind of breath. He says, the rite is called Vir Sulavanen. And Yariel... Would this be cultural lore? Yeah, this would be cultural lore for you, because it's Dalish, but you wouldn't necessarily know about Virs. It's a very particular rite. So go ahead and roll cultural lore.
Be prepared for a bad roll.
With an 11, Yariel, you have heard the phrase Vir Sulavanen before. It can be loosely translated as the way of, like, almost like the way of reciprocity. Traditionally, what Vir Sulavanen is used for is when someone from another clan wants to borrow an artifact from your clan, and they say, because all the artifacts belong to all the Dalish, and so they invoke Vir Sulavanen with the keeper, and they say, if you give me a task to perform, I will do a service for your clan, and in exchange you'll let me borrow this artifact or the thing or whatever it is. It's not always an elven artifact. Sometimes it's like a challah or like, an Aravel, like something mundane. But Vir Sulavanen basically means the way of reciprocity.
Okay.
He says it's an ancient elven rite. It dates back to Arlath'len, and I think I am going to invoke it with Solas.
What?
In order to borrow what?
He says, well, that's the thing. I'm not going to be borrowing anything. I think I'm going to meet him in the Fade. We're both Somniari, and traditionally that is where Vir Sulavanen always occurred. I'm going to meet him in the Fade, and I think I'm going to have you three come with me. He says, it's hard to explain, but in ancient Arlath'len, Vir Sulavanen, it was more than just, an exchange of goods or services between the people. It was a grand diplomatic meeting between clans, and traditionally they would meet on an empty field in the Fade with an alluvion on either end for the parties to enter from. And I think if we play our cards just right, he'll think I'm meeting him alone, and then when I have his attention, you three can slip through his alluvion and see what it is he's using to power this spell, and how, if at all, we can sabotage it.
This feels
Crazy.
remarkably dangerous.
Yeah, how are we going to do this without him knowing? Isn't he, like, the Dreadwolf?
More concerning to me is how are we going to do this without him knowing and hurting you?
He says, I have something that he wants, and I think if I offer it to him, it'll keep his attention long enough for you to get in and out without him noticing.
I cross my arms. Are you going to share what that is?
He looks a little uncomfortable. He says, well, it's me.
I'm sorry, come again?
I mean, you were there, Yariel. Don't you remember? When he first barged his way into the Pavis estate, he called me Vinan. He tried to sway me over to his side. What if I let him think that it's worked? He's been hounding my dreams all these past months, trying to convince me. So the pump is primed. I could make him, maybe, think that it's worked and that I want to join his side.
I've just been, slowly getting a, bigger and bigger scowl on my face as he talks. Just more and more cranky with every word.
Lannon, you can't lie for shit.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Isn't he, like the god of trickery or something? I'm looking at Yariel, isn't that right? You can't deceive that kind of god.
He says, don't get his legend intermixed with the man, Cassandra. The Dreadwolf is the god of trickery, but the Dreadwolf historically was just a title. I know Solas. I know him very, very well. And I don't have much of a poker face, but I won't have to fake that much. I know what it's like to be hopelessly in love with him.
Ugh. I'm just pacing kind of across the room now. So what's the plan to get out of here once we find out what the alluvion, or what is powering?
Theoretically, you should be able to get in and out with no trouble. Vir Sulavanen was a rite all about open exchange and, equal reciprocity. There should be no locked doors to keep you in. The version of his stronghold that you will be getting into will not be real. It will be a reflection of it in the Fade, but it still should give you all the information that you need.
And then if we get out, how do we get the rest of us all out, including you?
Once I end the rite of your Sulavanen, it should take all of us out. I'll have to give each of you a draft of lyrium while you're with me, but it should work.
He's gonna want something from you, Lannon. He's not just going to accept, oh, I've turned to your side and and just let you go.
I'm not just going to have a sudden change of heart. I'm thinking I might falsely bargain, you understand, for your safety, Sabre. I'll say, I'll come to your side, but you have to take this elf with you. You have to take him into Arlath'len and assure that he will not be harmed when you tear down the veil. The closer I can stay to the truth, the better, right? I mean, you guys you fucking got me clocked. I'm not a great liar. So the closer I can stick to what is true, the easier this is going to be.
That is a fair point.
That's true. It's not exactly a lie.
I'm just like, I don't know. I'm way too emotionally invested in this. Like,
you are.
Really want to be like, absolutely not. I look at Lynn and I'm just like, I hate this plan.
He says, I'm not a great fan of it either. It kind of makes me sick to my stomach a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, Yariel, we need to know how he's going to do this if we're going to sabotage it. If we just lay siege to Arlath'len and start breaking things, we could make the end of the world faster for all we know. We have to understand how his system is going to work and how he's going to get the power he needs to do this.
There's no way we can try this another way. We can't try to ask your triple agent what's going on or try to sneak somebody in.
The triple agent doesn't have high enough access. Trust me, we've been working toward that goal for months now, and in the intervening months since we've gotten access to him, we've been trying to get him down into Solas' sanctum sanctorum underneath Arlath'len, to no avail. He keeps it locked up really tight.
Cass is trying to be very, very gentle, like, knows this is a very bad situation for Yariel, especially, like, he is right, though, Yariel. Like, we can't just blindly run in. We need to know what we're up against.
I don't disagree with that. I disagree with the thing where we offer up the man that I love to a monster.
What else could we offer?
I don't know.
We don't have anything else that he wants. He did try to get to Faith earlier, but Faith is effectively no more. So we can't turn her over. He might bargain for justice or for compassion, but Solas wouldn't believe me if I offered up living souls to him, justice or compassion. They wouldn't be willing to join him, and he knows that.
I just hate this idea, Lannon. I hate it so much.
I'm not a fan of it either, but until we've got a viable alternative...
I just sort of like sit heavily in a chair. When are we doing this?
Soon. Today, I think.
You have to promise me that you're going to get out of there.
He says, when I first joined the Inquisition, when I first met Solas, he was awe-inspiring. He knew so much about the Elvenon, and he was an incredibly talented mage, and that artifice has dropped away a lot. He says, I know the paranoid part of your brain, Sabre, really doesn't want to believe this, but the idea of him is viscerally disgusting to me now. He says, you don't have to worry. I know full well what it is I'm walking into. There's nothing that he can offer me that would really tempt me. Like, you're talking about, like, you have to make sure to get yourself out safe, but, like, Lannon knows what the anxiety is really about.
Yeah. I just sort of, like, shake my head, and I just hate this plan, Lannon. But if it's the only way...
He says, you don't have to trust him, but you can trust me. And he, like, takes your hand and he says, Arlath'len.
I think I just, like, lean in close and I kiss him.
Mayveria says, aww.
Yeah, we're all just like, oh, look at that.
No, like, Mayveris is like, oh, and then Elian's like, right.
I'm just like, I'm kind of ignoring everybody else in the room. I just look him in the eyes and I'm just like, just promise me you're going to come back.
I will do absolutely everything in my power. I don't want to be with him for a moment longer than I have to be.
Good enough.
He says, okay. And he stands up and he says, we're a little short on money since we bought 300 gallons of lyrium. But I do have a couple draughts left over from my own personal stores. So you should plan to take one additional person with you into the Fade. Figure out who that is. I'll start preparations. We should be ready to get underway by nightfall.
Normally I'd be like, excellent, but I'm just like, ugh, I'm gonna go for a run.
So the character select screen pops up. Lannon is a combat ally now, but for this particular mission, he cannot be the combat ally for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So who do you want to bring with you into the Fade? Again.
A mage? Does that sound right to you guys?
Mages are powerful in the Fade, but they're also vulnerable in the Fade.
Right. That's true.
There's positives and negatives to
I
it.
feel like Dorian should stay home because the hangover might, have, a penalty for his rolls.
No, it'll be long enough. I'm not going to penalize them for that mechanically. It'll be like nightfall, so they'll be fine by then. We'll have a nap. They'll take a shower.
He'll still be mad about the Black Divine.
What happens if we bring Mayvarys now? I hadn't even thought about it now that she's Mayvarys.
You don't know. I would tell you to roll Arcane Lore, but no, I'm not going to make you do that. You have no idea.
I feel like you should ask that in character.
Okay, fair enough. I look around and I'm just like, Mayvarys, what's it like now that you've got Faye inside? How do you fight?
I'm still a mage, Yariel. Like we were both mages, and now we're just still a mage.
So you're just
I don't know what you were expecting.
extra powerful mage.
No.
That's not how that works.
Two mages together and you become a quadruple mage.
No, that's not what it is at all. No. She says, I have the memories and experiences of two people, of an elf from ancient Arlath'len and also a magister of the modern Tevinter Imperium. And, I know more magic than either one of them did because they both knew different kinds of magic, but no, I'm not more powerful or anything.
Honestly, that's kind of a bummer.
I don't know what you were expecting, Yariel. It was to save my life. It wasn't supposed to make me stronger.
No, that part's cool, but the part where, I don't know, I just thought whenever you get two things go together, it's like a fusion, there's synth. Okay, never mind.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, you are. And by the way, if you're thinking about bringing her, no.
I'm pretty sure you don't, own her.
I was gonna say, if you want me to come, I can. It's not a big deal. I feel fine. I don't have the blood anymore.
Honestly,
so that's
I kind of feel like Maeve would be a good, ally. She knows the Fade.
Well, Faith knows the Fade. That's true.
Yeah.
Cass is now distressed. I already brought her into the deep roads. I can't do it again.
I don't know, y'all. It's up to you.
I kind of if we're doing a sneak option, we got to go in and out. I kind of like the idea of another rogue.
Mm-hmm. I like the sneak factor. For Zevran. Zevran's sneak factor is good. I like May because I like having a healer, but I do also like Talgan, and we have underutilized him.
Okay, everybody pick one, and we'll do rock, paper, scissors or something.
Alright, so if it was Fenris or Zevran, it feels like we're leaning towards Zevran.
Yeah.
Zevran?
Yeah, I agree with that. I want a roguey rogue.
Sure, let's do Zevran.
So, Cassandra, you and Yariel go shopping because, at the risk of parting the kimono a little too much, everyone is now level 14 and they just got their second specialization. They got a whole bunch of upgrades and shit like that. So they want plate armor, mechanically, is what they want. But they are also going to just go shopping as pseudo brother and sister. The armor shops in Minrathous are about what you expect them to be. They're lots of selection, very decadent with, the employees that are, too helpful. The kind that, you really have to be no, thank you. I'm just looking to get them to leave you alone.
Right.
Yeah, it's fair.
Is there anything I can help you find? Yes.
I'm just, shoving Cassandra at them when that happens.
I'm just oh, yes. Hello. Plate armor.
It's oh, of course. What size?
The kind that fits her.
Yeah, Cass gestures to herself this size?
I have to say, we don't get many Kunari clientele here, but certainly why don't you come this way and we'll see if we can whip you something up.
Cass is looking at Yariel what are parts of plate armor? Remember, I'm actually a mage. I don't know what any of this is.
Honestly, this is really funny, Kay. Just looking at it, say, you'll be fine. You're in really good hands. They've got you. I'm probably having the opposite problem because I am much smaller than most of them.
Yeah, they also don't have to outfit elves very much. More than Kunari, but still not a lot. But so yeah, the employee, the too helpful employee, gets you all set up, and she leaves you for a while to go and get a selection for you to peruse from while you wait in like the dressing area.
So armor, huh? That's new.
Yeah. I've never worn armor before. It's a new feature of this thing that Lannon taught me, this arcane warrior thing.
Oh yeah, how's that going? Is it like, is he still teaching you, or is like, did he just do the one thing and then you're done?
You know, when we have time, we practice. It's still really hard to do Crushing Prison, but at least now I can, not just the magic sword, but now I get to wear armor magically, I guess. It's weird.
It's so weird. I really don't understand it.
Yeah. How do you walk around with all of these clanking plates?
Noisily.
Yeah. It's kind of uncomfortable. So, how are you feeling about Lannon's plan?
Oh, was I not clear? Was I very vague in there about how I was feeling about his plan? Was it too confusing?
No, I'm not an idiot like you.
Okay, that's uncool. Your own brother.
I'm learning how to banter from you and Ren. I feel like this is appropriate.
Yeah, you're actually doing a really good job. I'm really proud of you. It's bad. It's bad, Cassandra.
Right.
It's bad.
Obviously, it's bad.
I don't like it. I was very unhappy about it. What if... I mean, I'm not a mage or an elven god. I know he said he's not appealing anymore, but what if that's what he wants? What if he doesn't like talking about armor?
Oh no.
Lannon's also an arcane warrior.
Right.
He doesn't wear plate armor because he prefers not to. He prefers the mobility, but you've seen him in armor, like ringmail armor underneath a robe.
But what if he doesn't want to talk about it, Tessa?
Oh my god.
Well, then I guess your relationship is doomed, Amber.
It's
I don't know.
over.
Sounds right.
Cass is like, do you not trust him? Is that where this is coming from?
No, I trust him. I don't trust Solas.
He did give off real bad vibes.
I've heard horrifying things, and he's been coming to him in dreams. It's just, I don't know how you compete with that.
You don't have to? Why is everything a competition to you, Yariel?
I'm good at competing.
That's the problem. Sometimes, like, you just gotta trust.
I just sort of like look at you blankly, like, what?
Yeah, exactly. You just like, I don't understand. Sorry, like, I don't even know how to spell the word trust. Like, Cass is like, I know. I almost lost May. I know what it feels like to worry about someone, but I know you don't like it. But his plan is solid, like bargaining something that we know for sure, and he knows Solas better than we do.
Yeah, that's what part of what worries me. I'm also worried that he's going to do something. I'm worried he's going to try to sacrifice himself.
Yeah. Our group kind of has a problem with that, huh?
It's a big martyr complex. That's every single one of us.
Yeah, right. So, sacrifice. About that.
You going somewhere with this? You giant, unsubtle monstrosity.
Leave me alone. I'm not good at being subtle yet. I am very big. It's not my fault. It's in my genes.
If I tell you something, do you promise to keep it a secret?
I do promise. And also, there's nobody listening inside me anymore, so there's that.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Do I get a feeling from Justice that he's like really tired of me spilling his shit to everybody?
No, I mean, like, Justice is a very practical man. Like, he knows, like, the secret's not going to keep super long, because, like, everyone is very aware that, like, the end is nigh. Like,
Yeah.
Shit's happening soon. His big thing is, long as Compassion doesn't know, and, like, even if Compassion does know, is if he could be faster than Compassion, honestly.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah.
Okay.
He's definitely faster than Compassion.
I heard from Justice last night, and he wants to sacrifice himself in place of Lannon. And I don't know how to feel about it. I hate it just as much as I hate it when Lannon sacrificed himself. Or offered to.
Okay. That was a joke before about the sacrificing thing, but
Too late, bitches.
I mean, it's also not a great option, but at least you still have Lannon.
Yeah, that was about the only rationale I could come up with. Sounds pretty bad coming out of your mouth, too.
Yeah, it does. Have you told Lannon?
I told Lannon this morning, but we can't tell Elian because Justice is worried that Compassion is going to try to do it first.
Oh, of course. That is within his nature for sure. Also, I'm very proud of you of telling Lannon anything.
Finally, open communication.
He's like, oh yeah, I told him this morning, and Cass is like, oh my god, I'm so proud you had a conversation with your boyfriend.
Open communication is for losers.
As you are talking, the shopkeep comes up with 2 rolling racks of armors, like rolling racks with suits of armor on them, and she says, "How about you try these on?" So Elian, Leander has been staying in the Pavis estate still. Like, he still lives there officially, but that's it, he's been gone a lot. He has been spending a lot of time with Archon Radanis.
Yeah.
It's been going, you haven't actually known how it's been going, because he's been gone so frequently.
God, that sucks. I feel like I managed to corner him on one of the rare moments that he's actually back at the estate.
When he is back at the estate, he's almost assuredly reading. Every time he comes home, he has like a pile of books and scrolls that he has to go through for some you're not even sure why or what they are. But you usually find him when he is home in front of the fireplace in the Pavis estate in an armchair curled up with usually like a mug of tea, sometimes spiked with something, and also just piles and piles of books.
Same, bro, same.
Oh, and just heads over and rests his head on top of Leander's over the chair, just peering down at what he's working on.
It is a big arcane tome. There's some kind of weird rune on it. You don't know what it does.
That looks extraordinarily boring. Do you want to take a walk?
Says, I mean, yes, but no. Yes, because I'm tired, but no, because, God, there's so much shit I have to get through. Apparently I missed out on a lot of stuff not receiving a formal magical education, which, yeah, fair.
Sure I can't tempt you away even for a few minutes? Just quick walk around the gardens, stretch those legs. You look a little tense.
So yeah, he can read the room, like, he knows, like, obviously you're up to something. But he does not quite know what. He turns around and glances up at you and he says, "Something you need to tell me?"
Hmm? Like what?
I don't know, you just have like a look. I know you pretty well, and you've got like a particular look you have when you're up to something.
You ever consider just going with it? Come on, it's a nice night. Or afternoon.
He heaves a great sigh. He finishes off his tea, sets the book aside. He's like, "Alright.
Yes.
Be it on your head, though, if Archon Radanis finds any flaw with my rune work tomorrow."
I'm willing to take that risk.
I'm glad you are. He stands up and heads with you out into the garden.
Okay, excellent. So over under the orange tree, there's a little basket sitting there.
He says, I knew you were up to something. What's going on, Elian?
Sit down.
He sits down. It's like, I thought you were going on a walk.
Yeah, well, had to get you out of there some way.
Yeah, because you're up to something.
Okay. I've been working on something for you for a while now.
Absently, Leander picks up one of the orange blossoms that had fallen from the tree and just rolls it between his fingers.
Here. And he reaches inside of the basket and pulls out this stunning wooden box. And he picked up one of the orange blossoms, and on top of the box are engravings of orange blossoms.
He glances at it in confusion. He says, I mean, it's a beautiful box. I'm not 100. He tries to open it.
There's a little secret to it. Here. And Elian pulls out a key and opens up the box, and there's a little secret compartment that pops open.
Oh, very secrety.
What do you expect? I'm Orlesian. Shut up. Inside, there are several dried orange blossoms and a pair of rings.
He picks up the orange blossom and sniffs it, and then he sees the rings and he's like, what are these for? Just completeless right over his head. Just straight, like, whew.
Leander, I meant what I said that night. I can't imagine my life without you. And I'll stay by you for the rest of my lives if you let me. Our lives, if you let me.
Says, yeah, I thought this went without saying. Like, obviously, yeah, I'm in it for the long haul.
I want to marry you, Leander.
He stares at you in confusion for a minute and he's like, is that legal?
I'm not sure, but I mean, you're the Archon. We're trying to save Thetis. I'm pretty sure we can make some, exceptions. You know, we do know both divines now.
He, like, the gravity of this is finally starting to set in as he stares down at the rings. He says, you know, this was probably the last thing. Like, if you had asked me to make a list of, like, all the stuff you were up to, this would have not even cracked the top 100. You have to understand, Ellie, and I was raised a slave. I didn't even know. This has never even entered my head as something that was possible.
But would you have wanted it?
I don't know. Like I said, I never entertained the possibility. I never had to worry about whether or not it was something I wanted to do. I
mean, the ceremony itself doesn't really matter, but you're family to me. You're my home, and I guess I want everyone to know that.
Leander swears in Tavine. He is trying to keep it together. Like this is completely out of left field for him, but he does eventually slip the one of the rings on, and he says, well, I mean, I guess, if you're going to insist, that's fine, I suppose. I guess, whatever.
Shut up, and I just kiss him.
Hey friends, Tessa here. If you're desperate to hear the next episode, chances are good that you can by joining our Discord server. We post links to all episodes in pre-release, and you can even chat with us and listen live as we record. Join us by going to bit.ly/CFCDiscord. For more information on the show, character biographies, and links to social media, head to our website, critfail.club or critfailclub.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. Crit Fail Club does not advertise at all, so if you like what you hear, tell a friend who might also like it, make a post on social media about it, or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Full episodes are available on our YouTube channel, bit.ly/CFC channel, or wherever you get your podcasts.